I think this is the part of note taking that a lot of people stress themselves out with. Which parts do I actually need to note down? I would say hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So I've got a really exciting video today because what I want to actually do is show you exactly how I take notes and how I use my iPad to bullet journal. So it's kind of like two videos in one, but really where this video was inspired out of is I got a question about how I'm able to create so much content and create the courses that I create. And really, I think the question was asking me how I retain so much information or how I'm able to learn so much. And honestly, it really comes down to note taking. I was even watching a video this morning as I was getting ready, and one of the points in this video resonated with me so much that I actually started tearing up from the point, but yet by the end of the video, I couldn't even remember what the point was, and it had that emotional effect on me. So what I like to do is anytime I'm watching a video, watching a webinar, or really learning anything that I know is going to help my content or my business, I make sure that I take notes. And in this video, I wanted to show you exactly how I do that. Now, I used to just take notes with my journal and a pen, but I actually have switched this over recently to my iPad. So I am going to show you what this looks like on my iPad. But what I'm actually teaching you is not the iPad note taking itself. It's actually the process in which I take notes. And really, this is based around lists. I am such a person that learns via lists. I love watching list videos. I love creating list videos, and I love checklists because ultimately that's how I get stuff done, is I just make a big checklist of all the things that I need to do. So when I'm taking notes, it's really in that same way. I'm just listing out all of the really important things that stand out to me from the piece of content that I'm learning from, so that I can come back and revisit those important points later. But I like to jazz it up in ways that make it look pretty, it's easy to understand, and possibly even with some diagrams, because ultimately that just makes me more inclined to want to revisit my notes. I used to take really messy notes and I'd never be inspired to actually revisit them. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to watch a video, and then I'm going to take notes and just time lapse and show you kind of my process of this, and then I'll come back and I'll explain what the video was about, and I'll show you exactly how I took those notes. So the first thing I would essentially do is just create a really nice title. The video that I've chosen to watch is called Becoming the Best Version of Yourself. It's a top 10 rules by Evan Carmichael, and it's all about Oprah Winfrey's top 10 rules of becoming the best version of yourself. So basically, just whatever I'm doing, I will basically create a title. So this, I'm just going to call it like I'm probably just going to call it Becoming the Best Version of Yourself by Oprah Winfrey. And then I'll simply just go on and start taking the notes, which, like I said to you, I'll describe my process for that after I'm going to time lapse it from here on out. Was extremely motivating, and not only now do I feel really inspired in my own life and all the ways that I can develop myself, but also because of this I now have so many more things that I can create content around and ideas that I can take my own experiences and mesh it with and then share with my audience. These are notes that I ended up taking. My camera did die halfway through, so I ended up changing the way that it looked a little bit, but essentially these are the notes that I ended up with. And now, because I really love the way that these look, I'm so much more inspired to come back and revisit these notes. But basically what I do is just write out a title, and like I said, I really like to take notes in a listicle format. So obviously it was easy with that video because it was a listicle format video, but basically I just wrote out all of the different subheadings and all of the points within that subheading that really stood out to me, highlighting the points that I really resonated with, like the ones that gave me goosebumps. So like I said, it really is just pulling out what's important to you do from the things that you are learning. I think this is the part of note taking that a lot of people stress themselves out with. Which parts do I actually need to note down? I would say trust your intuition on this, particularly when it comes to personal development. I know it's a little different when you're trying to study for, say, an exam, but for the purpose of your own business and for personal development, really just listen to your intuition and write down all of the things that you hear that really resonate with you, because those are the things that you're most likely going to want to use for your own business or share with your audience. I just want to show you another set of notes prior to actually having the iPad from a webinar that I did watch. So this was essentially a webinar on YouTube, and basically it's the same thing. So I will just do everything as much as I can in a listicle format. I'll write out the heading, I'll write out all of the different sections within that webinar, so all the different kind of main subject, main points, and then of course all of the different points under that that resonate with me, and then also just really highlighting any key areas or action steps that I want to take myself. And of course, possibly sometimes that might mean drawing in little diagrams. One thing I do when I'm watching a webinar or I'm watching a training, and obviously you can't pause it and draw out the diagram yourself, is that if the webinar can't be paused or the training can't be paused, I'll quickly just screenshot it, and then I can come back and obviously input that diagram later. The iPad obviously makes it so much easier to do that because you can move stuff around with your notes, but either way, that's another little tip that I have for you when it comes to note taking. So I do just want to say, I know this video is a really light video, but the purpose of this is just to really inspire you to take better notes so that you can retain more information. I can't advocate enough how much taking notes has helped me to become the person that I am today, because humans really only have the capacity to remember or short-term remember a very few select things. And when you have all of these other stresses and considerations that you're making on a day-to-day basis, if you're trying to learn new things and just retain it in your short-term memory, it's going to be really difficult for yourself. So the purpose of note-taking is literally to give your mind a break and to just put it somewhere where you know you can access it at any time, and then you can go back and access it at any time. It's just going to allow you to get so much more out of the things that you're actually spending your time learning. I mean, how many times have you listened to an audiobook or watched a video and then half an hour later you couldn't even recall what the video or the book was on? Our minds aren't built that way. We really need to be focused on whatever we're learning, and note-taking is one of the best ways to do that. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was exactly how I use my iPad for bullet journaling. And I've kind of already shown you how I plan my months in my monthly planning video, so definitely go check that out if you haven't already. But the next thing that I wanted to show you was how I use my bullet journal for daily planning. And the reason why I wanted to include it in this video is because it really does come down to that same way that I take notes, simply just writing out a checklist for myself. So basically what I do with my bullet journal checklist daily to-do list is I really just like to create myself a really nice header. I take my time with this because it just makes me feel good, and it makes me again want to revisit my notes even more. And when I'm using my iPad, I actually use the dotted paper so that I can simply create boxes using the square feature in the note-taking app that I use, and then just write out all of the things that I essentially need to do for that day. But I still do use the bullet journaling system in that I actually create a running list of the days, so that if I'm not able to get something done on one day, I can simply use the arrow to move that task to the next day. The reason why I actually love this so much is because it is on the iPad, I can actually copy and paste tasks from individual days. So sometimes I don't even need to use this arrow. I can simply just move the task from one day to another. So I really like this, and I kind of, like I said, just wanted to tack it onto the end of this note-taking video, simply just because I wanted to show you exactly how I plan out my days and how I use the bullet journaling system and the checklist system to ultimately stay focused and productive with what I needed to get done each day. So I really hope that you did enjoy this video. Let me know if you have any tips or hacks on note-taking and how you actually retain information from the things that you are learning. I'd love to know, do you take notes on my videos? And if so, definitely show them to me on Instagram. I would love to see them. I really hope this video was was helpful, both from the perspective of how to take notes, and of course, if you have an iPad, how to bullet journal, daily to-do list on that. If you have any more suggestions of note-taking / iPad kind of videos that you'd like to see, please do let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.